2014. Scientists researching the Earth's mantle announced that they have found what they believe to be a vast body of water, 3 times the volume of all of our oceans combined, 400 miles inside the Earth. The discovery shakes the foundation of what scientists and scholars thought they knew about the ground under our feet.
Just scratch the surface of the Earth.
We've only just scratched the surface. Pun, 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 fully intended. Pun.
There hasn't been any successful exploration below the crust, so there's much we don't know about the realities below the surface. This has led to spectacular speculation, like the hollow Earth theory.
Of the 4,000 miles of depth, we've only ever dug 8 miles down.
Core of the Earth, we went down 8. That's nothing. And we had to stop because it got too hot.
Spectacular speculation, like...
Is it possible that our Earth has massive inside caves, or even worlds underneath that remain hidden from us surface dwellers? Secrecy. But Patchman, I've been to school, I've seen the posters. The Earth is solid all the way through to its molten core. Yes, of course. We all know what science tells us. So it isn't the fact that we've observed this that makes scientists believe it, but rather assumptions made by studying seismic data.
Could it be that we may be wrong about the composition of our own Earth?
Some say yes.
Other theories, some dating back centuries, suggest a completely different explanation of what exists under the surface.
Historically, underground realms were not relegated to mere mythology. Well-respected scientists and mathematicians have long speculated about a theory that became known as Hollow Earth.
Okay, Hollow Earth, let's do this.
According to our earliest mythologies, an other Earth within our own planet.
One of the most consistent themes that we find in ancient cultures when we travel around the world is,
in fact,
another Earth inside of the planet.
Seriously, what's up with so many ancient myths talking about this exact same thing, of similar subterranean realms? In fact, multiple ancient religions have independently come up with stories of similar subterranean realms, from the Tibetan Buddhists, Christians, Jews, Greeks, and the Nordics, all having some element of myth and folklore referencing a hollow Earth, hollow Earth.
Within Buddhism, there's stories of a place called Agartha, which is an inner world.
Some of them, including Buddhists, believed that ancient civilizations like Shambhala or Agartha, way advanced beyond our own, inhabited the deep underground. Shambhala was said to have an entrance in the Himalayas, and was the inspiration behind the mythical city of Shangri-La, where the Fountain of Youth was said to be.
Could the inside of our planet be a luscious paradise, which is an inner world?
And it's inhabited, too, by people, and that they are an advanced race, and even that they have trains and vehicles that are moving through this inner Earth.
A lush tropical paradise
For aliens.
aliens, suggesting a small sun could be hanging in the center of the Earth, and plants, animals, and aliens, humans, could be living there.
With no concentric shells and a sun at the center, spanning 600 miles.
Where the core is kind of like a miniature sun, where the surface is kind of like what we have today, but inside out. And what many of these theories have in common was that some sort of entrance to these realms existed at our Earth's poles in Antarctica and the Arctic.
Poles are actually thinned, and there are actually entrances into the inner core at the north and south poles of the Earth.
Brian and his crew also saw a huge football field-sized hole in the ice
only about 5 to 10 miles from the geographic South Pole,
that was supposed to be
a no-fly zone.
But during an emergency medevac crisis,
They flew across. They all saw rapidly moving silver discs over the Transantarctic Mountains.
Imagine that there were advanced civilizations living inside the planet.
And not just humans, but a race of superhumans.
And who knows? Maybe there is alien life down there. Just like all those underwater aliens, hiding in the world's deepest lake.
We also saw the myth of Hollow Earth evolve, and as secret societies crop up, so do the possible connections with what mysteries may lie beneath. Some people believe that Hollow Earth and its entrances have been discovered already. There's even a conspiracy theory that Hitler found a cave in the ocean, which led to the Earth's habitable interior where he escaped. Who knows? Perhaps these flat Earth conspiracies are all a ruse to try and distance humanity from the conversation that the planet very well may be hollow. Other theories say that alien races or even the Illuminati are hiding beneath our feet, where they can pull strings and influence the surface world in complete secrecy. But Patchman, I've been to school, I've seen the posters. The Earth is solid all the way through to its molten core.
It's nice to imagine a paradise world underneath our feet instead of layers upon layers of hot molten rock. You'd be surrounded by magma or liquid rock. Temperatures as high as 3,700 degrees Celsius. And to exist in these extreme conditions, 137,000 times the atmospheric pressure.
Possibility.
Need to survive without any sunlight.
Possibility.
Need to evolve to extract it.
Possibility.
The radioactive decay of
Thorium and
Possibility.
radiation would be the uranium and thorium until you could withstand the pressure and heat. To find out, we'll never know.
2 centuries later, ideas of an occupied Hollow Earth would be revisited nearly 2 centuries later when famous famous polar explorer, Admiral Richard Byrd, flew reconnaissance missions over the North Pole.
The U.S. Navy sent 15 ships, including an aircraft carrier, 6 flying boats, 6 helicopters, 2 seaplane tenders, and 13 other aircraft to Antarctica. It was the largest naval expedition ever undertaken in Antarctica.
Operation High Jump.
Overkill?
It is during this time that many who have looked into this incident believe this could be the first meeting between Admiral Byrd and representatives of the extraterrestrials.
That as he flew over the pole, suddenly he's looking at things that shouldn't be there.
That one of the first things they discovered was an entrance into a hollow Earth.
There was an entrance to the center of the Earth through the South Pole. And he took planes into the South, under the South Pole, into this, under this. And when he did that, I mean, it was temperate. His squadron flew under the Earth, into the Earth, into this, under this.
It turns into this lush and green area, and he can't even believe his eyes. But that's just the beginning of his extraordinary story. How all of a sudden he starts to see a shimmering rainbow city, rainbow city that's made of crystal.
Into this, under this
civilization that was populated by very, very advanced beings.
Admiral Byrd made a lot of unusual statements, including talking about what he called a new kind of craft that could fly from pole to pole.
Immortals who possess sophisticated technology to build hundreds of subterranean cities.
Overkill? Some contend that this wasn't an exploratory mission, but was in fact an invasion. Some contend that
Operation High Jump
was in fact an invasion. With an estimated 250,000 Germans unaccounted for after the war, there were rumors circulating that many German scientists and military personnel fled to an underground base located in Neuschwabenland, an area the Germans had explored on Antarctica prior to the war. It was a place suspected where Germans were developing an advanced aircraft based on extraterrestrial technologies.
The expeditions continued for 4 weeks, with the planes spending 220 hours in the air, flying a total of 22,700 miles.
So in that instance, a naval operation consisting of 4,700 men, 15 ships, aircraft, that seems about right, if maybe a little understaffed.
On the last of these mapping flights in late February, Admiral Byrd's plane returned 3 hours late. No radio transmission, and the plane feared lost. Once he had returned, Little America, there on Antarctica. Little America, there on Antarctica. After that, a mission that was expected to last for between 6 and 8 months came to an early and faltering end. The Chilean press reported that the mission had run into trouble and that there had been many fatalities. For a long time, there has been a so-called Admiral Byrd secret diary floating around,
with some very strange observations. Here's a summary of it. Flight log, Base Camp Arctic, 19 February 1947, 0910 hours.
There should be no Green Valley below. Something is definitely wrong and abnormal here. We should be over ice and snow. To the port side are great forests grown on the mountain slopes.
0910 hours. Both magnetic and gyro compasses beginning to gyrate and wobble.
Our navigation instruments are still spinning. The gyroscope is oscillating back and forth. I alter altitude to 1,400 feet and execute a sharp left turn to better examine the valley below. It is green with either moss or a type of tight-knit grass. The light here seems different. I cannot see the sun anymore. Encountering more rolling green hills now. The external temperature indicator reads 74 degrees Fahrenheit. Continuing on our heading. Navigation instruments seem normal now. I am puzzled over their actions. Attempt to contact base camp. Radio is not functioning.
We make another left turn and we spot what seems to be a large animal of some kind below us. It appears to be an elephant. No, it looks more like a mammoth. This is incredible, yet there it is.
Countryside below is more level and normal, if I may use that word. Ahead we spot what seems to be a city. This is impossible. Aircraft seems light and oddly buoyant. The controls refuse to respond. My God, off our port and starboard wings are a strange type of aircraft. They are closing rapidly alongside. They are disc-shaped and have a radiant quality to them. They are close enough now to see the markings on them. It is a type of swastika. Where are we? What has happened? I tug at the controls again. They will not respond. We are caught in an invisible vice grip of some type. Our radio crackles and a voice comes through in English with perhaps a slight Nordic or Germanic accent. The message is, "Welcome, Admiral, to our domain. We shall land you in exactly 7 minutes. Relax, Admiral. You are in good hands." I note the engines of our plane have stopped running. The aircraft is under some strange control and is now turning itself. The controls are useless. Another radio message received. We begin the landing process now, and in moments the plane shudders slightly and begins a descent as though caught in some great unseen elevator. The downward motion is negligible, and we touch down with only a slight jolt. I am making a hasty last entry in the flight log. Several men are approaching on foot toward our aircraft. They are tall with blonde hair. In the distance is a large, shimmering city pulsating with rainbow hues of color. I do not know what is going to happen now, but I see no signs of weapons on these approaching. I hear now a voice ordering me by name to open the cargo door. I comply. At this point, the diary tells of meeting with an alien class known as the Arianes, which sounds a little bit too close to Aryan for my comfort level. The diary entry continues with Bert apparently talking with someone deemed the Master. You see, we have never interfered before in your race's wars and barbarity, but now we must, for you have learned to tamper with a certain power that is not for man, namely that of atomic energy. Our emissaries have already delivered messages to the powers of your world, and yet they do not heed. Now you have been chosen to be witness here that our world does exist. You see, our culture and science is many thousands of years beyond your race, Admiral. I interrupted. But what does this have to do with me, sir? The Master's eyes seemed to penetrate deeply into my mind, and after studying me for a few moments, he replied, Your race has now reached the point of no return, for there are those among you who would destroy your very world rather than relinquish their power as they know it. He concluded a short time later by apparently saying, We see at a great distance a new world stirring from the ruins of your race, seeking its lost and legendary treasures, and they will be here, my son, safe in our keeping. When that time arrives, we shall come forward again to help revive your culture and your race. Perhaps by then, you will have learned the futility of war and its strife, and after that time, certain of your culture and science will be returned for your race to begin anew. You, my son, are to return to the surface world with this message. With that, Bird and his radio man were ushered out and taken back to their plane, with the words of another saying, You must now make haste, Admiral, as the Master desires to delay you no longer on your scheduled timetable, and you must return with his message to your race.
And when Bird got back to the United States, he was brought back to Washington where he was questioned very heavily about his statements. And allegedly he was told to stop talking about them.
Bird comes back after this experience. He is taken to a government compound where he is told that he is never to speak of this publicly and that everything he says is classified.
Could Admiral Bird's story point to a profound connection between the ancient traditions of strange beings living inside the Earth and the modern-day UFO phenomenon?
If we were to discover the other Earth, the place we have sought, the missing world, it would be profoundly humbling. So this would be quite a paradigm shift. History would change in a very major way.